I find this very funny with the NBA. The league is very progressive. They allow their players to speak out when it comes to social issues, such as some of the things that the president says, social justice issues, issues, for example, like when the Trayvon Martin incident happened, players wore hoodies as a sign of solidarity and respect. Yet the NBA does not want its players speaking out about issues when it comes to officiating. Whether you do it in a respectful way or if you do it in a disrespectful way, you receive a fine. It makes absolutely no sense to me why it's 2018 and the NBA is fining coaches and players for speaking out about calls that they disagree with, that they believe are wrong. At first, I thought that they were fining them because it was questioning the competency of the officials, which made a lot of sense in the beginning. You still hold the right to speak your mind. Now, I do know that when you work for a private organization such as the NBA, some of your rights, they may be waived or modified because you're working for a private company. The private company has a degree of power on some of your rights. That makes sense. But for the same organization, NBA, to say, okay, yeah, go speak out on public rights. Go speak out on, issues regarding politics. Go speak out about issues about gun violence. But you're fining your players for saying that they don't believe that the referee got the call right? Makes no sense, especially when it's done in a respectful manner. It's not like a lot of these fines, 15,000, 20,000 that we're seeing. It's not like the players are like, F this referee, F the officials, they don't know what they're doing. They deal with these issues on a continuous basis. They know these guys by first name. So when they say that I believe that he made a mistake, it's not like they're saying it out of the blue. Even if you hint at some guys made a mistake, they fine them. Just doesn't make sense to me. You claim you're so progressive, yet you're fining your players for speaking their mind. Although you tell them to speak their mind. It's backwards to me. Then you have certain things, which is really funny to me. Certain players get away with criticizing the officials all the time. Like LeBron James. LeBron James came out a couple weeks ago and said, the league only protects jump shooters. I'm driving to the rim and I'm not getting any calls. He should have got a fine for that. They haven't. LeBron James talks about officiating and officials all the time. Never gets a fine. So now, not only is it a backwards message that you're sending, you're being hypocritical because now you're saying that only certain people get fines while others don't. It's like certain people have built up. I know the official's job is hard and it's a hard job, but it's a job well rewarded, correct? Or else you wouldn't be doing it. And what gets me is like, why would you allow, okay, you don't want your players to criticize officials, but you allow your partners criticize your players in terms of like ESPN's, ABC Sports, stuff like that. They have shows criticizing not only your players, but your officials all at the same time. Why aren't you fining them? Why aren't you holding sanctions against them if you can't find them? Why aren't you sanctioning them and say, hey, you can't talk about these topics, etc., etc.? It's very weak to me because when we don't even think anything of the call or anything, a call that's made that a coach disagrees with. To me, I always look at it as a disgruntled coach or a disgruntled player. They're just mad. They're just mad. Even like sometimes when it's a call that, they were right about that it was wrong, so they can't call everything in a game. Like, what I'm saying? If they call every single little foul, the game probably be like 3 hours. Or if they call every single play, the game will be like 4 hours. Like, as to me, I think most fans understand when it comes to the NBA with the whole 2-minute review, 3 officials, 2 on the side, 1 on the baseline, instant replay. The NBA is head and shoulders, like, they're all about getting the calls right or whatever the case is. They're trying their best. Like, I think most fans would agree. So we don't really pay attention to it much when players criticize the referees. But then you go and you find the coaches and the players. Now we're like, okay, what did they say? What play were they talking about? Now that highlights everything, because when it comes out that you find them, it's just like it was a weak move. Basically, when you're finding them, you're validating them by saying that we want you to, even though we got it wrong, we want you to keep it shut. Keep your mouth shut about this. And that's not fair to me. And I don't think they should. I don't think going forward, unless a player says something really disrespectful, calling them a dumbass referee, stupid calling referee, stuff like that, they shouldn't fine these players and the coaches. If they say it in a respectable manner, don't fine them. Because what you're fining them is not even 1/10 of what you're getting. Like, for example, if you look at the way that owners and organization scales everything up, if they're fining him $15,000, that might, they're probably getting $1.5 million every time a player doesn't criticize an official. So you guys got to understand like the bigger picture of this, and the fact that the NBA says we want you to talk, but don't talk about the referees. You know what I'm saying? Like, we never see an organization fine a coach for criticizing a player. We never see an organization fine a player for criticizing a coach. So what is it about this whole refereeing situation that you got to hold a fine against? Your partners criticize players. Your players criticize the partners. Nothing comes out about that. Like, there's no, hey, LeBron, you can't talk about Charles Barkley, and vice versa. Barkley, you can't talk. I understand they're separate entities, but the officials are a separate entity. They have a referees union. So what is it? Like, you want to protect the honor of the referees? I highly doubt it, because you have high caliber stars that still talk about officials and never get a fine. So if they're not going to get a fine, you need to be consistent across the board, because it's really lame, because what you're doing is you're proving the players and coaches right, because you're so upset that they're highlighting a mistake that you're fining them. And if you're right about a call, what you should do is come out with a memorandum, section 1.5 of the rule book. Hey, this is what happens when a call is this person has a possession. That's it. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. And the funny thing is, you have a 2-minute report where, yeah, we did get this call wrong. So if you did get a call wrong, don't fine the coach. Makes no sense. Well, let me know what you think about this. This is Vlad from Hoops Junction, where hoops meets hoopla.